It was a rainy evening when Emma found herself wandering through the narrow alleys of the old part of town. The neon lights flickered like dying fireflies, reflecting off the puddles. She had always been drawn to abandoned places, to the stories they whispered through dust and decay. Tonight, her curiosity led her to a small, forgotten bookshop tucked between two crumbling brick buildings. The sign above the door was barely legible: Morton's Curiosities. Its windows were fogged and grimy, but a faint golden light spilled onto the wet cobblestone street. Pushing the door open, a bell tinkled, more like a warning than a greeting. The interior smelled of mold and old paper. Shelves sagged under the weight of books whose spines were cracked and faded. Emma wandered past shelves that seemed to stretch endlessly, each book staring at her with the weight of centuries. Then, at the very back, she saw it. A single book lay on a pedestal, illuminated by a solitary beam of light that pierced the gloom. It had no title on its cover, just a leather-bound, black surface with faint, almost imperceptible scratches that looked like claw marks. The moment Emma touched it, the air grew colder, and the whispers began not at first. It was a faint murmur, like the soft rustling of pages. Then it grew louder, forming words she could almost understand. "Read me." Emma's fingers trembled as she opened the book. The pages were empty until words began to appear, black ink bleeding slowly across the paper as if written by an invisible hand. The text described Emma's own life in chilling detail. Every memory, every secret she had buried was there. She read about the time she lied to her best friend, the nights she cried alone, the small betrayals she never confessed. Her heart pounded, and the whispers grew insistent, circling her ears like invisible serpents. Suddenly, a new line appeared. "Look behind you." Emma froze. The shop was empty, or so it seemed. But the shadows had shifted, and in them she could see faint silhouettes moving, stretching toward her. The whispers were no longer just words, they were voices, demanding attention, suffocating her with guilt and fear. She tried to close the book, but it wouldn't budge. The whispers turned into screams, echoing from the walls themselves, rattling the shelves, shaking the floorboards. Emma's reflection in a cracked mirror revealed her eyes turning black. As if the book had already claimed part of her soul, panic surged. She dropped the book, but it didn't hit the ground. Instead, it hovered mid-air, pages fluttering wildly, opening and closing like wings. The words inside started to twist and writhe, forming shapes that resembled her worst fears, a faceless figure standing over her bed, shadows that slithered across walls, hands reaching from the floor. Emma ran toward the exit, but the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. The bell's chime echoed like a death knell. She screamed, pounding on the wood, but the building itself seemed alive now, groaning and shifting. Shelves leaned toward her, books whispering her name, mocking her, laughing with voices that weren't human. In desperation, she lunged for the book again, thinking maybe destroying it would end this nightmare. But the moment she touched it, the words inside burned her fingertips. The ink jumped off the page, forming a black smoke that coiled around her arms, tightening like chains. She screamed again, muffled by the smoke, which now carried the voices of all the book's past readers, trapped, lost, screaming in unison. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. Silence. Emma lay on the floor, trembling, her heart hammering. The book sat close at her feet, its cover calm and ordinary once more. The whispers were gone. The shadows had receded. Only the soft patter of rain against the shop windows remained. She picked up the book, determined to leave. But when she opened it one last time, there was a single line written neatly in ink as black as night. You read, "Now you stay." Emma tried to scream, but no sound came out. The shadows crept forward, enveloping her. The shop, the book, The whispers, they were one, and now so was she. Outside, the neon lights flickered again, and the alley was empty. But if anyone passed by Morton's Curiosities that night, they would have heard it, a faint whisper carried by the rain. Read.